It's worth kind of going back to your case with the SEC first, because you are far along, and as we sit here today on February 20th, how would you describe how the dispute has changed?
What's unfortunate is they have lost consistently. They lost the Ripple case on everything they cared about. I mean, even the soundbite you just had up, your Chair Gensler is saying that a lot of these are securities. What the courts have said in the cases they have brought, and certainly the case with Ripple and the token XRP, the court determined that XRP is not in and of itself a security. Well, look, I think for whatever reason, the SEC decided to make Ripple their first major case around this. And look, the reality prior to the case, we had been advocating for more clarity around the rules and regulations. And the good news has been other countries around the world have leaned into that and codified what should the rules and regulations, what's unique about crypto that needs to be changed. The SEC, frankly, has just hired more litigation that, what we call regulation through enforcement. And it really just started suing lots of people. And hard to predict whether it's going to reach higher courts. On everything we cared about, we won against the SEC. Will the SEC appeal and move it up the courts? We'll see. They sought approval to do what's called an interlocutory appeal. The courts denied that also. The case against me personally and Chris Larson personally was dismissed entirely with prejudice. So, look, from my point of view, the SEC has lost consistently. They lost the Grayscale case. I think if you're following the Coinbase case, that the tone from the judge is, I think, pretty skeptical about some of the SEC's arguments. It stops, I think, when the SEC either realizes they're losing consistently, or you have Congress lean in and writes new legislation.
According to Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse, who was speaking to Bloomberg about the ongoing dispute, the United States Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) has already lost, which might have significant ramifications for the price of XRP. In addition, he discussed the significant events that have occurred in the judicial system and what these developments represent for the current dispute. Garlinghouse remarked in the interview that the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) had been defeated in the Ripple case on anything they cared about in particular. He made reference to the decision made by the court that stated XRP is not a security asset. In addition, the head of Ripple mentioned that the outcome of the litigation will be determined by the government agency and its determination to continue fighting what he considers to be a losing battle. The CEO of Ripple claims that the SEC has lost anything they cared about. Ripple and the Securities and Exchange Commission have been involved in a significant legal dispute for a number of years now. The market for digital assets is waiting with bated breath for a winner, as both parties have resisted the possibility of a compromise. At the beginning of the year 2024, many people anticipated that a resolution would be reached, and the outcome was likely to have significant repercussions in terms of precedent. In an interview with Bloomberg, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse stated that the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) has already lost the legal case, which might be extremely important for XRP. He stated more specifically that the agency has been unsuccessful in regards to anything they cared about, implying that Ripple has been successful in obtaining favorable verdicts from the courts on all decisions that are pertinent. After that, Garlinghouse was questioned regarding a schedule for a conclusion, as well as whether or not an involvement from higher courts was possible. Next, the chief executive officer of Ripple made the following statement: in everything we cared about, we won against the SEC. Will the Securities and Exchange Commission file an appeal and take the case to higher courts? Let's wait and see. Additionally, he mentioned that the courts had already rejected the SEC's request for an interlocutory appeal against the decision. In addition to this, he mentioned that the lawsuits that were filed against both Garlinghouse and Chris Larson were resolved with prejudice. Finally, Garlinghouse indicated that the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) will officially surrender if any of two things occurs. To be more specific, though, he stated that the organization must either realize they are losing consistently or face the possibility of intervention from Congress. Although he acknowledged his skepticism over the latter, he emphasized his hope over it. A recent interview with Bloomberg featured Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse, who expressed his disapproval of the SEC action against the company. The reasons why Ripple has been obliged to rely on court decisions for regulatory clarification and a prospective exchange-traded fund ETF for XRP are explained by Garlinghouse. The price of XRP remained unchanged at $0.55 on Wednesday, despite a 1% decrease for the day. The chief executive officer of Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, made a statement about the SEC v. Ripple lawsuit and the possibility of an exchange-traded fund ETF for XRP. In an effort to enter the cryptocurrency custodian market, the payment remittance company recently completed the acquisition of Standard Custody. In Wednesday's trading, the price of XRP remained stable above the $0.55 threshold. The chief executive officer of Ripple has stated that the company has prevailed in the SEC dispute. The chief executive officer of Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, is of the opinion that the payment remittance company Ripple has prevailed in the SEC v. Ripple litigation on significant matters. It is highly likely that Garlinghouse is alluding to the order that Judge Annalisa Torres issued on July 13th, in which XRP was treated as if it were not a security in its secondary market dealings. In a statement to Bloomberg, Garlinghouse stated that the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) has continually been unsuccessful in its cases against Coinbase and Ripple prior rulings in the SEC v. Ripple dispute. As of Wednesday, the SEC v. Ripple lawsuit has moved on from the discovery phase that was linked to potential remedies. During his presentation, Garlinghouse discussed the ways in which the payment remittance company has been subjected to regulation by means of enforcement and through judicial rulings. During an interview with Bloomberg on Tuesday, the CEO of Ripple expressed his desire for a Ripple ETF and explored the prospect of its creation. The Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) is likely to come to the realization sooner rather than later that it has continuously lost its litigation against cryptocurrency companies, according to Garlinghouse, who asks for more clarity on cryptocurrency regulation. According to the well-known writer Charles Gasparino, Ripple has, in fact, been unsuccessful in its legal battle against the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) of the United States of America. This assertion runs counter to the general consensus. Gasparino claims that the finding is idiotic, which challenges the prevalent narrative of Ripple's legal success. This is in spite of the fact that a recent judgment declared that XRP is not a security. Retail XRP holders won for the time being because Judge Torres issued a truly idiotic ruling that split the baby, which is the laugh of the Southern District, he stated. Examining the ruling from the court, the judicial decision that the digital asset connected with Ripple is not a security was the culmination of the litigation that involved Ripple and the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC). A failed attempt by the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) to appeal the ruling, as well as the dismissal of accusations of securities law violation against Ripple executives Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson, led to this significant decision. Similar to a Bitcoin evangelist, Adam Back criticizes BlackRock's bet on the Ethereum exchange traded fund. The interpretation provided by Gasparino, on the other hand, raises questions about the outcome, describing the decision as illogical and mocking the way it was received in the legal community. According to his point of view, there is a possible void in the application of conventional securities law to the development of digital currencies. Confronted with opposition, the opinion expressed by the journalist was received with a tidal wave of outrage by members of the XRP community. During his argument, crypto lawyer Bill Morgan stated that the majority of the legal community had a positive opinion of the verdict. The legal soundness of XRP was emphasized by him as a means of separating it from a security. As part of their defense of the ruling, crypto law argued that the majority of transactions involving XRP do not satisfy the requirements necessary to be categorized as securities. Ad hominem attacks were mounted against Gasparino by a significant number of members of the XRP community. Ripple's position, on the other hand, continues to be aggressive in the midst of legal disputes with the SEC.